Tacos.
Another great day in paradise, as I like to say. We are lucky to be able to have an amazing guest. Jeff, are we living right? Because this is like getting better every time. And I know people think I say that every time, but wow, we're fired up about this.
Okay, the taco show is just, it's rocking, and it is a true fiesta. And so much so that we actually reached out of the country for this next guest.
Exactly.
So we've gone international, but Ben Baker, he's the president of Your Brand Marketing up there in Canada. Now, Ben and I know each other. I'm not even going to years. It's just been a long time. We're old people. Just go with that.
Been over two decades. Let's put it that way. It's been over 2 decades.
That's a
okay. We'll go with
with
that.
that.
Yes, that works for me. So he's been in promo. He's been a speaker at the PPI Expo. He knows what we're talking about, but he's evolved his personal career into doing brand consulting. And we're going to be talking about a topic that we've actually never covered on the show, and we don't see it happening much in the industry. And that is a brand story. There's a book on story brand, this whole idea of telling your story. And it's actually, we've got Ben on for 2 shows. The first part, we're going to talk about what is story brand and telling your brand story. The second part is how does promo and other marketing elements you have available to you tie into all that. So without any further ado, that was a long intro.
That was an awesome intro.
I'm feeling the love, gentlemen. I'm feeling the love.
You've earned the love, Mr. Baker. Let's put it to you that way.
Yes. Well, okay. So Ben, welcome so much to the show. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show, Ben.
And there we go.
We're glad you're here.
Tacos with Jay and Jeff.
We always do a little tacos up. I don't know.
Well, wait a second here. We gotta get the tacos up.
Tacos. Oh, there you go.
I got the digital taco going here.
I don't know where I am.
I love it. Virtual tacos are working for me, man. That's great stuff.
And there's soft tacos. I'm a soft taco guy.
I like that. A softer, gentler, kinder guy.
You know what? There we go. And that way I could roll it up and just shove it in my mouth, and I don't have to make a mess all over the place. It's a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing. Well, guess what? You know what else is a beautiful thing is we actually have a sponsor, Ben. I think you'll be pretty impressed with this. We have from Tour. Oh, I always blow it because they're also from Canada. La Tour de Spice. You have to put the L in.
La Tour de Spice.
Yes. So thank you for that. And everything is better when you spice it up. We're grateful.
And let me just mention, La Tour de Spice. Many of you know Brian Scott. Does a lot of videos out there. Many distributors, people have been on our show, love Brian. So we're going to have Brian back the first part of the year. This is actually going to be your last opportunity. What I said, first part of next year. This is going to be your last opportunity to get Tacos with Jay and Jeff spices. And there's a form that will be in the show notes here, and you can do that. And part of the reason is everybody knows well, I don't know about you and Ben up there in Canada. You might not get this. Jay knows that the holiday season is tamale season. So in any event, that's what we focusing on.
It is a big part of the Southwest culture, no doubt about it. But
turkey with tamales, is that what it is?
Sometimes I've had
tamales all the time.
Yes.
All tamale all the time.
All tamales all the time. And sometimes a turkey tamale, which has happened once in my life. You never know. But yes, it's been a great ride. We're grateful for Brian and all the folks at La Tour de Spice. And
they're actually, part of it is too, they're growing, they're moving in a new facility. There's a lot going on in the holidays. And so they've been great. So Creative Spice needs, hey, we love those guys. Okay.
Everything's better when you spice it up, Jeff.
Perfect. Absolutely.
Well, guess what? Let's get to the heart of the matter, Ben. I hope this doesn't make you blush, but we've got some good stuff here to share. First of all, we've got you thinking and pondering.
It's my pondering look. I love this pondering look.
I like it too. I think it's great. I think it was fun for me to be able to find some of this. You've left a great trail of marketing and content, so I can find things on LinkedIn, on your webpage. You've got podcasts, so it's not hard to find some of these graphical assets, but I just have to say, one of the things that jumped off the page for me was this next thing. this was a quote, and I found this and I just had to share it because I think a lot of our viewers and a lot of us have been in this situation where we spend all of this time thinking that we're really wrestling with our brand and trying to figure out some great marketing and purpose-driven marketing and you know, our logo and where does it go and how big and colors and placement and all of the things that we think about when it comes to, you know, marketing, whether that's in the promo space, branded merch space, apparel, signage, all of it. But when I read this, Ben, I was like, okay, this is our guy. Just spent an incredible hour on the phone with Ben Baker. The man is a genius with branding.
Genius.
He managed to articulate in 5 minutes what it's taken me 2 weeks to try to pin down. I love that quote.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I was on the phone with a buddy. Actually, he was a buddy of mine in London, and we were having a conversation. And you know, he's lamenting over something. I said, "Well, it's this." And there's dead silence. There's absolute dead silence. He goes, "You," and I can't use the expletive, but you know, and he just sits there and goes, he goes, "I've been fighting with this for weeks." And I'm like, you know what? Sometimes it's another person's perspective.
There it is.
You know, it just happened to be, I was at the right place at the right time. Yes, I do have years and years of experience doing this. But on the other hand, it was just happened to be able to sit there and listen and understand and realize what his true value was.
Got it.
And be able to communicate it to him so he could communicate it to others. So that's what I live for. That's what I do on a daily basis. Really
important that you said that, because when we first started our show, man, we were frustrated with our own marketplace. People wonder all the time, you know, well, why tacos, Jay? And I had somebody even be a little critical about, you know, how dare you guys go off on tacos when we've got all of these problems going on and the culture is a mess, and you know, US and Canada and trade relations and supply chain. And I was like, whoa, I can't solve all those problems. That's not on me or you. So we'll deal with that. But more importantly is the content that we're sharing, because yes, we're going to have those challenges. Yes, there are problems that abound, but in the meantime, we still have to do some business. We still have to go from A to B and make, you know, use our time wisely and make an impact for ourselves and for those that we serve, our customers. So the topic of tacos became kind of the launching point, because as many know, I'm a little bit of an addicted freak to the taco. It is my spirit animal. I don't know if that's appropriate or not.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And once somebody heard me explain the connection to marketing, and I said, look, think of it this way. The branding is the shell that goes around it. All of the parts and pieces that are inside, all of the good stuff, that's all of the marketing tactics that you may or may not need to execute epic branding. And so Jeff and I got together and we're like, let's just have a fun show. Tacos with Jay and Jeff. We'll talk about branding. We'll talk about marketing. We'll talk about purpose-driven things. And guess what? The tacos have led us to you today, my friend. So,
but that's a beautiful thing. I mean, let's just, you know, stop there and talk about the tacos, because a brand is not a logo. You know, it is the essence of who you are as a company. What do you stand for? What do you believe? What do you fight for? What will you fight against? You know, what are the things that are important to you and what makes you different in the industry? That's what your brand is. You know, the logo is merely an avatar. So the taco itself, that's an avatar. You know, the communicating your why logo, that's an avatar. It's something that embraces by your clients to sit there and go, oh, okay, that's Jay and Jeff. Cool. I know every time I see that logo, I'm thinking of Jay and Jeff, and I'm thinking of the taco.
Yeah.
But it's what's behind it. It's what's behind it. What's the belief structure? What are you trying to achieve? And that's what your brand is. And the you know, so I love what you're doing with that.
Well, thank you. We appreciate it. We need some validation from time to time. We thought we would reel in an expert, and here he is. When we thought about, you know, how can we do a better job? Because it's coming up, what, Jeff, on 2 years? Is that right?
Yeah, we'll be approaching 2 years, and we have had really some amazing shows. And the one thing I want to put a cap on the taco thing is, we know we have a hashtag for this: tacos make everything better.
There we go.
You know, and so I'll leave it at that.
Well, that's a great segue, because what also makes everything better is when we can reach out to industry friends, when we can reach out to subject matter experts, and sometimes we need that outside approach. We need a Ben Baker to help us kind of cut through the clutter and help us figure it out, because we're too close to it. We're too close to the business. We're too close to the fire. We're too close to the drama and the friction. And so sometimes it takes a second pair of eyes and another brain, especially in my case, to help manage through that. So when I saw this quote, I was like, this is totally me. This is I totally get where this guy's coming from. And I could spend an hour with you and probably be a lot further ahead. So Ben, I hope you don't mind that we're sharing some of
No,
this.
absolutely. Listen, that's what this is all about. You know, I'm
Yeah,
all about content sharing. I'm all about sitting there going, how can I help make the industry better? I mean, the promo industry has done so much for me. You know, I spent 20 odd years in the promo industry. I still have my finger in it, you know, and it's, you know, it's still part of who I am. It's still part of what I believe. It's part of the marketing mix. It's a way to help tell the story. But, you know, it's part of helping the story.
Yeah, it's
people,
not the only thing, right?
It's not the only thing. And that's the one thing that people in the promo industry need to understand is, how does the promo industry help that story to be told? How do you get it to be able to be embraced, internalized, build the emotional attachment, do the recall, and have people retell the story? And we can get all into that in the second part. I mean, that's what the second episode is all about. But this episode is all about what a brand story is.
So guess what I have?
There we go.
Perfect landing here. When we think about what is your story, when we're trying to communicate these things, sometimes we're lost whether, you know, is it a brand, or is it branding, or is it marketing, or which is it? What am I doing? And this is why we thought, you know what? Help us make sense of this, Ben.
Absolutely. So in order to be able to do marketing, in order to be able to do advertising, in order to be able to tell your story, the first thing you need to do is understand what your story is all about. Okay. It's, who am I? What do I do? Why do I do it? Who do I do it for? What's the value that I add to these people? And truthfully, why should these people care? Because let's face it, there are 7.5 billion people in the world. 99.999% of those people could care less about you. Truly.
That's true.
They absolutely could care less. They probably will never know my name. They will never know my brand. They will never think that I can help them. But it's looking at that 0.1% of the population and say, hey, this is a group that I can influence. And of that percentage, there are people within that I can actually help. And knowing your brand is sitting there going, everybody with a Visa card and a heartbeat is not my client. My brand is for these particular people. These are the people that I can help. These are the people that I can add value to. These are the people that I speak their language and they understand mine, and we can help them move the needle and help them be successful. That's what your brand is about. And until you can tell that story effectively inside the company, to new employees, to customers, to vendors, to people on the street, you're never going to be successful, because your job is to sit there and build that know, like, and trust, and creating a story that tells people where you came from, where you are, the challenges you went through, how you fixed problems, and where you're going is the big part of understanding what your brand's about. And then you can tell that story through marketing and advertising.
Wow, that's brilliant. I hope people pause, rewind, and listen to what you just said again. It was spelled out so eloquently. What were you going to say, Jeff?
Right there is the sauce that just goes all over this taco. Okay, that's I'm keeping with the brand theme. I'm going brand theme.
Yes, the hot sauce. We got to keep it on theme.
Spicy hot sauce right there.
And we don't like weak sauce, Ben. We like a little flavor to that. So
a little habanero. It's got to blow my ears. When I'm sweating from the forehead, I know I've got the right sauce. Until then, it ain't for me.
Oh my goodness. Well, listen, one of the things that I thought of while you were explaining that was a phrase that I've often used, both for myself and work that I'm doing, and as others have asked and approached me, is the concept of, because when you said solutions, that's what kind of triggered my memory. It's like, I solve problems like this, fill in the blank, for people like you, fill in the blank. And that's going to be completely different, even within our own industry. So if there are folks tuned in today, and Jeff, as you know, the stats are in, we have crossed 40 live listeners slash viewers. I know it's breaking records.
I'll call
The
my mom.
Bridge
You'll have
Club.
41.
Well,
Okay.
that's how we got there. It's my
Yeah, the
mom.
moms, Jay's mom and the Bridge Club, they are out there, the bridge is coming back. And so more people are joining, the Bridge Club.
Yeah,
Perfect.
So the
our
is
audience,
growing.
you never know who's going to tune into a podcast or a video or so. Okay, kidding aside, Ben, I was thinking
We have a
about
huge audience, really, we do.
I know.
we were thinking about this from the perspective of individual marketing agencies,
Yes.
individual advertising companies,
Yes.
individual marketing reps. They all have to deal with this. They know there's real competition out there, but at the same time, they're all different and they all solve similar problems in a different way. So when I say we solve problems like this for people like you, and then we fill in those blanks, does that make sense, or am I off on that?
It absolutely does. I mean, let's bring it back to the promotional marketing industry. All of us, work through a distribution model. Okay. There's 750,000 products that are available at PPAI or the ASI showplace. The question is, how do you take those particular products, marry them with your internal identity of who you are as a company? What are the things that are important to you? Figure out who are the customers that resonate with them and provide those people with value in a way that differentiates you from the next person down the block. And as soon as you can do that, as soon as you can tell that story, realize who your story's for and how to tell it effectively, price becomes far less important. And we'll get into the second part of it. But when we can sit there and say, I help people like this do things like this, all of a sudden you're a problem solver. You're not putting logos on stuff. You're not going for the cheapest stuff. You're not going for the stuff that you can get the quickest. You're going for the right solution for that particular client to help them solve the problem that they have. And if you can be the person that's the trusted vendor, the trusted partner for them to help them do that, then they're going to build that loyalty out and they're going to tell your story for you. Here's a perfect example. 20 years ago, I got involved with healthcare, and I got involved with smoking cessation, alcohol awareness, and drug addiction programs in Canada. Okay. I met one woman. Shirley worked for Health Canada and introduced me to people in healthcare across the country. She would go to these different conferences and say, you know what, you need to talk to Ben. Ben helps us do this. Ben takes care of us. Ben makes sure that we get the right things and helps us tell our story. And we've been successful doing this, this, and this because of Ben. And all of a sudden, over 15 or 18 years, my practice became one of the top healthcare practices in Canada because of the relationships that I was formed, because I had other people out there telling my story that I was the person to come to for healthcare related smoking cessation, alcohol awareness, and drug addiction based programs. And that's what it's coming down to. It's niching down to sit there going, as Seth Godin says, people like us do things like that.
Yeah.
And it's building out the story based on that.
I love it. That's kind of the version of it. I knew it would resonate. And I know that there's a Seth Godin connection there. We are all fans of Seth. So yep. Jeff, you were talking before we started, and doggone it, if every time we do this, I wish we were recording, but we got off on a great conversation about story brand and Don Miller's book, and things like that. Jeff, what were you saying before that Ben was going to help us? I don't know how to word it right. So I'm not sure if that's the right place to go, but I'd love to have that conversation again.
Well, I think one of the things I was starting to say is, for an industry that is based on effective promotional marketing or branding and advertising, our industry does a very crappy job at doing it. We don't affect distributors and suppliers don't do a great job with being able to tell their brand story. And shameless plug or whatever, we're working on a new video component, 1 to 2 minutes on. We don't want to hear, Jay, this was your line. We don't want to hear that your pen or any item comes in 20 colors. Give us insights over information. Why would I want to do business with you? It's the same thing transfers over into exactly what we're talking about. But candidly, it is challenging in an industry that's focused on, let me show you this really cool Tervis promo show Tumblr, they're good. Our people, and hey, they're people. We're gonna get bad email. Okay, we're
No,
gonna
no,
get
no, we're
email.
not. No, we're not. We're not
No,
picking
No,
on.
you're going to send the emails to me because I'm about to drop a bomb that you're going to,
I love
that's
it. I
gonna
love
let
Okay,
it.
I
people-
will wrap this up and say, yeah. I mean, somebody could tell us how cool this is and decorating all that stuff, but if you can say, why do I want to do business with that particular company over another company that has to do with their core values and their brand story? It's a little harder. I mean, many can do it, many can't. That's what we're finding. So I think that kind of brings it back.
Perfect.
And Ben, you go ahead and take it from here.
In 20 years of walking into people's offices, I never brought a promotional marketing piece for the first meeting, ever. I came in with a pen and I came in with a notebook. Neither one of them were branded except to me. And it was all about getting people to understand, first of all, know, like, and trust me, but more important, for me to understand them. Because we're not selling them stuff, we're helping them tell their story effectively. We're giving them tools that enable them to build trust with their audience and be able to build that reach and recall that enables them to sit there and say, wait a second, I should deal with this company versus that because I remember the brand. I remember that logo. I remember who gave me that pen and the emotional attachment I got with the pen. There's a great story about a pen. It says there's two different ways to give a pen. You walk across the table, it says, here's one of our pens. Would you like it? And the second was, hey, listen, we only did 1,000 of these pens. I only got 50. I really would like to give you one of these pens. Would you like one? It's the same pen.
Yep. It's how
It could be
frame
it could be a 69-cent Bic.
This
But
is the
all of a sudden, you've just built an emotional attachment to the client, and the client has an emotional attachment to that pen because they know you only got 50. You're giving one of your precious 50 pens to them. So all of a sudden, it has an emotional attachment to them, and they're going to remember when they got the pen, who gave them the pen, and the story behind the pen.
Well, there you go. So I think we almost are ready to wrap this particular part one, if I think, Jay. But to kind of wrap that all up, what you're saying about not bringing in a promo product. Hello, listeners. This is also gold. Just bring a notepad or your iPad or whatever you want to do to be really cool, whatever, and listen. And because this is the difference between the stuff seller and the brand consultant. That a higher end person and I believe that outside of these people in the Bridge Club, most of our listeners are that other one. They're more the promotional consultants.
Hey, listen, the Bridge Club members might also be selling promo. We don't know that.
Well, yeah,
Or they might be
anymore,
selling
not anymore.
tacos.
No, my mom and my parents retired, and so they're living their best life, having a great time. So that's funny.
Anything else to wrap up session one before we bring Ben back?
Well, what I wanted to do is I wanted to bring up the screen one more time, Ben, and see, because I was going to ask you one last question, if that's okay. And the reason is this idea of what's your story, which is on top of all four of those logos, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
And so is that a challenging question that I should be asking early on to my new contacts, my new prospects, and even existing customers?
Yeah.
What's your story?
It's like your brand marketing. It's about you. It's about you, your brand, your message, your story. How do we get to find out about them? The number one job that we need to be is more curious about them. Why do they want 150 mugs? What are going to happen to these 150 mugs? Who are they going out to? What level of client are they? What do they want these people to feel when they get those mugs? What is the long-term objective of keeping these clients? What are these clients worth to them on a year-to-year, decade by decade basis? There's lots of different stories. And if we can understand what the value of that client is, and I'm going to remind me to tell you the Coca-Cola story in our next episode.
Okay.
But
I remember
when we're sitting there and we're building that relationship and we understand what their story is, who they're trying to tell that story to, and what they want those people to feel when they receive that gift, we can come up with a better gift. And all of a sudden, we're seen as solution providers, and we're giving them something that goes, oh my God, I need to have that. And price becomes secondary, tertiary, whatever. It's
Right.
not the factor that you're looking at. All of a sudden, you're the one who's solving a major problem that they have.
Wow, I love that. Perfect. Okay, well, listen, folks, we're going to wrap up this first section right now. We have our good friend Ben Baker, obviously subject matter expert on all things branding. He's a genius. His clients have told us so. It must be true if it's on the internet, right? But
It must be. I put it there. Oh, sorry.
hey, wait a minute. So we're going to take a break, and then we're going to come right back for session number 2.